We usually view failure as a total dead end, right? A clear red light telling us to stop what we're doing and retreat to safety. But today, we're unpacking Denzel Washington's incredibly powerful philosophy on taking risks. We're going to break down exactly how you can transform failure from an endpoint into the absolute necessary stepping stone for a deeply meaningful life.
We've got to start with this profound thought from Nelson Mandela. He essentially highlights that playing it safe means you're actively sacrificing who you could truly become. If you're deliberately settling for a life that's less than what you're capable of living, you're just draining the passion right out of your own existence. There's really no joy in hiding from your potential.
So, let's dive into part 1, the myth of falling back, and why having a backup plan might actually be holding you back.
Now, we've all heard this traditional wisdom growing up, haven't we? Make sure you have something to fall back on. It sounds super practical, responsible even, but Denzel completely flips this on its head. Think about it. If you're going to fall, why would you want to fall backwards into something safe where you can't even see where you're landing? You must fall forward. This way, at the very least, you're going to see exactly what you're about to hit. You learn from the impact. You see the obstacle right in front of you. Moving right along to part 2, let's look at the art of falling forward and look at some hard proof that failure is actually a prerequisite to success.
Consider that classic 9 dots puzzle. You might know the one. To solve it, you have to draw 5 lines with a pencil through all 9 dots without ever lifting the pencil off the paper. If you constrain yourself to the invisible borders created by those dots, it is literally impossible. The only way to solve it is to physically draw outside that imaginary box. It's the absolute perfect metaphor for why you can't be afraid to fail big and dream big. Staying inside the safe boundaries makes the solution impossible.
To put this into perspective, look at the legendary baseball player Reggie Jackson. He holds the record for the most strikeouts in the entire history of baseball. 2,600 times he swung and just missed completely. But do we remember the strikeouts? No way. We remember the home runs. The guy had to fail 2,600 times to become a legend. He fell forward. And honestly, it's the exact same logic with Thomas Edison. 1,000 completely failed experiments. I mean, most of us would probably quit at 10, maybe 20 if we were feeling super resilient that day, right? But he understood that every single failure was just data. Every miss was just one step closer to the target. It was on his 1,001st try that he successfully invented the light bulb. You've got to be willing to stomach those first 1,000 failures to reach that 1,001st attempt.
Which brings us to part 3, embracing your inevitable failures. Because, let's be real, the path to greatness is pretty messy.
Actually, just look at Denzel Washington's own path. It was definitely not a straight line. He started at Fordham University as a pre-med student, but he hit a massive wall with a course called Cardiac Morphogenesis, a class he said he couldn't read, couldn't pronounce, and for sure couldn't pass, so he pivoted to pre-law. Then he bounced over to journalism. With absolutely no academic focus, his grades completely tanked. By age 20, he hit rock bottom with a 1.8 GPA, and the university politely suggested he, take some time off. He was aimless, he was failing.
And the failures didn't just magically stop once he found acting either. Early in his career, he absolutely bombed an audition for a Broadway musical just because he couldn't sing. He didn't get the job. But he didn't quit, and he definitely didn't fall back to a safer career path. He just kept preparing, kept praying, and kept failing. There's that old saying, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. And he did. In this beautiful twist of poetic irony, 30 years after bombing that musical audition, he starred in the play Fences on Broadway, at the exact same court theater where he had failed decades prior. The takeaway? If you aren't failing, you aren't even trying.
All right, let's shift gears to part 4, the ghosts of unfulfilled potential. This is a bit of a heavy deathbed thought experiment, but it's crucial. I want you to picture this. You're lying on your deathbed, and standing all around you are ghosts. But these aren't just any ghosts. They represent your unfulfilled potential. These are the incredible ideas you never acted on, the unique talents you were given but hid away because, you were too afraid to fail. And they are standing around your bed angry, disappointed, and deeply upset. They're looking right at you saying, "We came to you because you could have brought us to life, and now we have to go to the grave together."
It's a chilling thought, isn't it? So I really want you to pause and ask yourself right now, regarding your own life, how many ghosts are going to be standing around your bed when your time comes?
This leads us perfectly into part 5. What will you do? How are you putting your unique gifts to use for the world? Because look, getting out there, embracing failure, and taking risks, it isn't just about fulfilling your own personal dreams. It's actually about our global responsibility. The world requires a lot, and it requires it from you. Whether it's tackling terrible poverty in South Africa or helping out in places like the Middle East, Japan, Alabama, Tennessee, Philadelphia, or Louisiana, the world desperately needs whatever time, talent, prayers, or treasure you have to offer. You've got to get out there and give it absolutely everything you've got.
And it really doesn't matter what your specific profession is, everyone has a unique, intangible offering. If you study business, your gift to the world might eventually be money. If you study theology, your gift might be patience. If you're a nurse, it's kindness. If you're a sociologist, your gift is love and the capacity for long suffering. Whatever your specific strength is, the defining question remains exactly the same. What are you going to do with what you have?
Ultimately, taking these massive risks takes immense faith. It requires being open to people and open to the unknown. Think back to Denzel at his absolute lowest point. It was March 27, 1975. He was a 20-year-old college dropout helping out in his mother's beauty shop in Mount Vernon, and an older woman kept staring at him from under a hairdryer. Finally, she gave him this spiritual prophecy. She told this struggling, completely directionless kid that he was going to travel the world and speak to millions of people. And in the decades that followed, that's exactly what happened. Through his movies, he spoke to millions of people he couldn't see and who couldn't see the real him. The chances you take, the people you meet, and the faith you have, that is the stuff that is going to define you.
So here's the bottom line. To get something you've never had, you literally have to do something you've never done. Don't be discouraged. Don't hold back for a second. Give the world absolutely everything you have inside you. And when you inevitably fall, will you fall forward?